This video is going to be about some things I always talk about, but I feel like this might be an appropriate time to talk about it. It's like, hey, I don't understand why nobody realizes why, being as a lighter skinned black woman, you know, many of the time people always act like the goal for a black woman is to be lighter skinned. And, they always put basically an idea that, lighter skin is the goal. And for me, growing up, I never really felt like lighter skin was the goal. I mean, if I was really trying to get there, well, it never made any sense to me because, eventually, light enough, you'll be white. And, I mean, for me, I never saw that they were ideal in looks when it came to feminine beauty. The reason why I never thought feminine beauty really was on the other end, but more like darker skinned black women, was not because of the skin tone, but actual features. For example, to me, ideally, I've always wanted, the softer, rounder, open face of a darker skinned, ethnic black woman. And like the high cheekbones. They're like very exotic, and they pop out like very like high on the face. It's a very feminine, round structure there. And, there's a lot of their features, like their soft round nose and their full lips, their round eyes, their natural beauties. Literally like Barbie dolls that are just like, made like just as they are. There's no real need to like make it better than what it is because generally with dark-skinned black women, they naturally have very good features, very good feminine features. And I don't see that with other women, really, to the extent of dark skinned black women. And the reason why maybe I see it that way is because my mother is a dark skinned black woman, and that was the type of beauty I was taught. That was the most beautiful and the most feminine type of beauty. It's the epitome of all feminine beauty, in my opinion. It's weird when people try and act like, darker skin is more masculine. And I think the reason people associate masculinity with dark skin is the idea of animalizing black people and dark skinned people. And to me, that idea is very ignorant, one, for several reasons, and I'm not going to get into those two completely, why I think that, but we all know it's ignorant, one, but there's more to it, and I don't feel like I feel that's a sticky subject, so basically it's ignorant, because, animalizing black people is very, racist, and I think it's just the quality of how people think of different races being better than other races, white supremacy, um, the racial hierarchy, basically, of beauty, but not actually taking into account the actual features of the people within that idea, like that racial hierarchy, I guess you could say. And I think a major part for me is, growing up, I never was impressed upon that white women or lighter skinned women were ideal. And I think the reason why was because my dark skinned mother was always said to be very beautiful and ideal of a look by other races of men and women. So to me, I always had that idea that, the dark skinned black woman has a natural model like look without much effort. And so for me, it's always been that this look has always been the ideal look for me. I've always wished I had more of a look like this, and that's why I try to do my makeup to look a lot more like them than anyone else. And I know I fail a lot because my cheekbones just aren't as beautiful as these women's, or my nose, or anything really. These women are just really, really beautiful, and I mean, I just find it very odd when people act like, black women's features are, masculine or not the most, feminine features when, like, with makeup and, like, different ideal features for a female are specifically black features. Like, thin lips aren't feminine features, it's full, big lips that are feminine features. High cheekbones are feminine features, not straight, narrow cheekbones that no one can really see. You know, people contour their noses to make them more soft and have a better profile, and, people try to make their eyes angled more in a round, almond shaped, like, angle, basically. Very much similar to many black women and many of their features. So it's just like to me really odd that people always act like, black women's features are somehow inferior or like more masculine when all they're really saying is that the black race, in their opinion, is inferior because they see black people in a negative light. On top of it, I wanted to point out the hair texture and type. This is exactly the ideal hair type I like with black women is 4C hair. They have very, very beautiful hair when it comes to that. It's like really thick, long, and strong, and it just adds to their beauty, of course. On top of it, I find it, with their darker skin, the ideal skin tone to me was always darker because I've always felt like, with lighter skin, your acne shows more, your scars show more, so much imperfections. So many imperfections show so much more, when you have lighter skin. But with darker skin, they have like a pure complexion that just is so radiant and beautiful. And it's just like, it doesn't even look like it could have any imperfections on it. Even though, sometimes they claim they do. I remember my mother would claim she did, but you couldn't see it at all because it was just like your skin is so strong and beautiful and perfect. So I just find it really weird. And I feel like people have warped mindsets and ideas of black people. And they have to look within and try and realize how negative they are towards the black race. To realize that it's only ill feelings for themselves. That is why they basically try to diminish the beauty of dark-skinned black women. Also, I wanted to point out in the case of darker-skinned black men who are colorists, I feel like many of the time they feel insecure about this because they may have a phenotype similar to these women and therefore want to see their own phenotype as masculine. But the truth is if your features are like that, I can't imagine or see how someone would perceive someone like this to be considered masculine. No matter how you feel about yourself, no matter how you think negatively and self hate against dark skinned women, it's not anything against dark skinned black women, it's everything against you personally because you hate yourself and you are trying to implement it on other dark skinned black women. I also think that, you know, I found in my experience, sometimes people act like that's so odd or like I'm trolling or I'm lying that I think, darker would be better. But to me, it's like, you know, I hate when I hear that mindset from people who are darker skinned because it's like, you know, how can you really think that people can't want to be darker skinned or like it has to be an ulterior motive to it? Why can't people actually embrace, dark skinned black women's beauty and actually think it's the ideal beauty, you know? To me, as far as like black women, of course, not all of us are going to have the same phenotype, and we all have our own beauty, and we all have to accept our phenotype for what it is, But I'm just saying, growing up, I never had, the ideas of basically dark skin being less than or light skin being better or feeling like um, the fact that I was lighter was a better quality or the fact that I was darker than someone was a bad thing or anything of that nature. To me, it was always like, you know, we're all black, as far as black people, and so, I mean, I wouldn't understand why having African features and having dark skin and having, this specific phenotype of black African women, which most of the women I posted were African. Some are, I think, American um, on this slideshow. But I don't think that that phenotype would be wrong any more than a light skinned phenotype of an African person would be wrong. To me, it's just like I kind of feel like, people are beautiful in their own way. And, I'm just saying for me, how I grew up was where darker skin was more of the ideal look. Personally, because, like, I don't see, for me personally, like, other people that have that, like, completely made look naturally, you know what I mean? As much as I do with dark skinned black women. And I did grow into, my own idea of my own personal beauty as well. But I'm just saying, I'm kind of like speaking as far as, like how people were trying to say darker skinned women were more masculine or black women more masculine. And I'm like, to me, the phenotype of someone with, full lips, high cheekbones, soft, small, round nose, and almond shaped eyes, that doesn't sound very masculine to me. I mean, nothing I said was masculine there. And I think most people know that nothing about dark skinned black women is masculine, but they think that they can get away with saying it just because they like to associate dark skin with negativity. And anything that's black and anything that's bad can be associated with blackness because they have such a warped mindset on blackness, most likely because of their own personal self hate. So that's all I have to say on that. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.